Good morning. Today is October 9th and it's a Thursday. So let's get the ball rolling. So first of all, TSX climbed by 0.5% higher, and which was led mainly by tech. Pretty much Spotify and Celestica led the charge. And also the losers were financials and real estate. But also I want to mention copper is going up in price, which is a pretty good indicator of where our economy is heading, which is a really good thing. So everything that we use, from our phones to laptops to the cars, everything needs copper. Even our homes need copper. So because of that, when copper prices are going up, that means demand is going up. That means jobs are getting created. So that's a pre-indicator of a positive economy. And in real estate spotlight today, I want to focus on Durham region. And the asset sale ratio was about 1.007, which means it's a purely balanced market. So the listing agents and the selling agents are on point. And they're doing the right thing. Average sale price was around 820,000. Again, I don't know if that's a blip in the data, but just like Toronto, where it was 2 million, but $820,000, which seems a little too good to be true for Durham region. However, the listings to sales ratio was around 25%, which means it's still a super buyer's market. And I love to see that where buyers are getting a better deal in Durham region. Well, right now, based on the 1.007, they're getting a fair deal. And new listings were up by 14% week over week, but year over year, they're down by 6%. But here's the thing, power sales, there were 12, but there were only 4 privates, 1 MIC, 3 from RBC, 2 B-side, and 1 from BMO and 1 from CIBC. So one thing I noticed was, unlike all the other regions where the major contenders for power sales were the private and the mix, in Durham region, it was an evenly spaced, even allocation between all the banks. That kind of scares me, because usually banks do a lot more due diligence on the affordability. But again, we'll see, it's only 7 days of data. And in Macro Pulse, Mark Carney did meet Donald Trump, and that ended up without a deal to be made on the tariffs. However, they did make a deal on aluminum and steel tariffs. And Carney also floated reviving the Keystone XL pipeline, a big energy boost for investors. Well, big investor boost for energy. And also this kind of makes it positive for Albertans, just because that's a huge factor for that. And also StatsCan released a major cross-border reporting crime, so Canadians versus the Americans, and the key takeaway was that there was 33% higher crime rate in the US compared to Canada. Since 2009, it kind of narrowed down a little bit. However, property crime is higher in Canada. So for every 100,000, there's 1,995 crimes in Canada compared to 1,906 in the United States. That's usually because of financial issues and the current unemployment and pretty much a whole bunch of economic situations that are happening right now in Canada. And also I want to talk about something else that happened to me personally last week. So obviously everyone knew that September 30th was, we had the day off because of the bank holiday. Not everyone, but the federal and the banks had the day off. So because of that, and it was a last day of the month, one of my payments, it was a $10 payment, I missed it. And then I didn't really check that account, but today I did, and I saw it was negative $55. And I called the bank, and they waived the NSF fee. Then I realized we get charged $45 for NSF, a missed payment on a $10 item. So when I did a little bit more of a deep dive, it really surprised me that in 2023, 34% of Canadians had NSF fees that was totaling to almost $400 million in 1 year. That's ridiculous, right? So I found out on a good note that the federal government capped NSF fees as of 2026 March to $10, which makes a whole difference to a lot of people. And this is going to be across the 79 major banks across Canada. And this is where the $45 adds up, because they stipulated if the numbers are the same for 10 years, that would be additional revenue of $4.1 billion going into the profits of the major banks. And that doesn't sit right with me. I mean, it's on me that I should have made sure that the money was in there, but mistakes happen. And, you know, this is not a right thing to do, right? But again, their answer was, you should have overdraft protection. I'm like, I don't want to pay for that, right? So, but again, I'm just going on a rant. Anyhow, have a happy Thursday. I'll see you guys tomorrow, bright and early and right before the long weekend. Till then, stay safe and enjoy your day.